Hey, it's Quadix here. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe, comment Q or any other comments you may have. The link to the Discord and my Instagram will be in the description. Check them out. When this video gets to 500 likes, I'll upload the next part. Roll the intro. Naruto flashed back to the trees he had put his marker on. He took stock of the situation and nodded, satisfied. His teammate had managed to survive against Gaara in his absence. Sasuke frantically dodged Gaara's sand claw. Just where was Naruto? Gaara screamed. Why are you running, Uchiha Sasuke? Come face me. Sasuke was about to snap back a reply when another voice called. How about resuming our fight from earlier, Gaara? Both Gaara and Sasuke turned towards the direction of the voice. Sasuke released a long breath of relief while Gaara seemed to get pumped up even more. There was Naruto, standing on a bench with one hand by his side and the other twirling a three-pronged kunai by its ring. A confident Stop messaging me when I record. Why? I didn't get a message. What was the notifications for? Dude, I didn't put it on D&D. So. Anyways, we can get back to the recording. A confident smirk graced his features as he looked Gaara in the eye, not at all unnerved by his toothy grin. Gaara said in a low voice, Excellent suggestion, Uzumaki Naruto. Let's make each other feel alive. The last part was shouted in glee as he prepared to attack. Naruto's expression turned serious and he turned to Sasuke. Sasuke immediately straightened up from the look, though he didn't know why. Get out of there. Get out of here and to safe distance, Sasuke, and keep Sakura safe while you're at it. I doubt you can fight anymore in your current condition. That was all he said before turning his attention back to Gaara. Sasuke wanted to snap at him for dismissing him like that, but he was smart enough to not do that in the middle of such a fight. Ever since he had begun fighting Gaara, he felt that somehow Gaara was growing stronger in their fight. He seemed to have a crap ton of chakra like Naruto, while Sasuke had steadily run out of chakra in their fight. Even Chidori had been useless as for it to work. You had to be extremely fast, faster than your opponent, and catch him off guard. One of those conditions was sadly neglected, particularly due to his own stupid bravado of wanting to face Gaara in the open. Also, Sasuke had struck only sand, which had reformed, causing no real damage to Gaara. He was more than glad to let Naruto take over. Retreating to a safe distance, he settled to observe Naruto fight. Naruto jammed the kunai in his hand on the branch he was standing on. He put his hands in both of his pouch and in 3 quick draws, he scattered all the remaining Hiraishin kunai all over the area. Gaara seemed to be unaffected by this development, while Sasuke was closely examining one of the kunai that had lodged right in front of him. Was this the reason Naruto was able to get from one place to another in almost an instant? He looked around, and upon seeing Naruto was concentrating on Gaara, he deftly looked at the lodged kunai out and put it in his pouch. He would examine it later. Naruto pulled out the kunai he had jammed near him and took a stance. He had already set up his field. All he had to do was get Gaara into position. He channeled wind chakra into his kunai and jumped at Gaara, deliberately going slow enough so Gaara would be able to aim his attacks at him. Sure enough, Gaara did exactly as he wanted. Suna Shuriken! A hail of shuriken made of sand came racing towards him while he was in mid-air. He flashed one of his kunai at the last second, right above Gaara. The sand shuriken completely missed their target, crashing into some trees behind where Naruto was standing. Gaara looked around, trying to find out where Naruto had vanished to. Oi! The call made him look upwards, where Naruto was crouched upside down. He weaved cheekily at Gaara before vanishing once again. This time he appeared right in front of Gaara, who snarled and made a hand sign. Multiple mouths appeared all over his body, which took a deep breath as one. Futon Mugen, Saijin Daitopo. Wind style, infinite sand dust storm. A huge dust storm blew towards Naruto, who simply flashed to another kunai, which was on a tree behind Gaara. Gaara grit his teeth and once again looked around to find Naruto. Are you that incompetent? You can't watch me without your eyes, let alone your jutsu. Gaara whipped around and sure enough, Naruto was standing on a branch with a taunting grin. Gaara's tolerance finally snapped. He was used to playing around with his stronger opponents before crushing them to death. But this time, his opponent was playing with him and was brave enough to taunt him. He would show him just who he was messing with. With a roar, he jumped towards Naruto with the intent of tearing him into pieces right where he was standing. Naruto grinned. Gaara was so easy to rile up. Jamming his kunai on the ground between his legs, he felt into a stance as if preparing to tackle Gaara. Just when Gaara's claw was about to make contact with his face, he flashed to another kunai away from Gaara. Sasuke watched with awe and jealousy as Naruto neatly avoided all of Gaara's attacks, looking with complete ease. To add, it seemed that the seal on the kunai was some sort of beacon for Naruto to flash to. Whatever it was, Sasuke was sure to crack it later for himself. If he could learn the secret of that kunai, he would be able to fight on par with Naruto. Turning his attention back to the fight, Naruto seemed to waiting for Gaara to sum into a specific position. And if Sasuke knew one thing about his teammate, it was that Naruto was a master at setting traps up. He watched with anticipation as Gaara snapped and bodily rushed at Naruto, intent on crushing him by himself. Naruto dropped the kunai and looked as if he was preparing to engage Gaara hand to hand. At the last second, he flashed to one of his kunais, neatly dodging Gaara's attack. Just what was that blonde planning? Naruto smirked as Gaara released a roar of frustration as he once again missed. He took out a regular kunai, wrapping a regular explosion tag around it. After all, he only wanted to weaken his armor. He made a promise to Temari not to kill her brother. He would be breaking that promise if he blew Gaara's butt to chunks with one of his own tags. Nasty. Anyways, he flashed back, this time right behind Gaara. Without waiting for his tail to react, Naruto jabbed the kunai in a spot right below his tail. Right here. Gaara reacted to the poke first, then the voice. As soon as he heard the voice, he immediately swung his tail to smack Naruto away. But Naruto was no longer there. Naruto had flashed the kunai a few trees away, grinning at the blast that covered Gaara. He felt Sasuke land beside him, saying in disbelief, "You poked him in the butt? With an explosive kunai?" Naruto scowled and turned to him. "It worked, didn't it? I don't see why you're complaining." He then turned around, looking at the giant remnant of Sand Claw grabbing Sakura in what looked to be a very painful hold. He stepped to the claw and placed a palm against it. Yep, it was rock solid. To Sasuke's amazement, Naruto seemed to channel red lightning into the sandy rock. He was about to stop him, telling him that might hit Sakura with her lightning. When cracks appeared in the claw around Sakura, it then shattered, freeing Sakura. Naruto caught her before she could faceplant on the branch. He handed her to an open-mouthed Sasuke. How did you do that?" Naruto waved a hand. "Not the time, Sasuke. Maybe later." He then flashed away to a kunai that was on the tree right before the one which the explosion occurred. He whistled, thoroughly impressed as the result of the explosion. The entire right half of Gaara's armor had collapsed, and the other half was barely holding on. Naruto wasted no time in seizing this chance. Ever since he arrived in this area, he had dispersed a moderate amount of his own chakra in the air. Grasping that chakra, he entirely converted it to water. Dog, tiger, water style, great water fang projectile. Just as it had happened with Jiraiya, a huge spinning drill of water took form behind Naruto, going above him and rushing down towards a dumbstruck Gaara, who was forced on recovering and reforming his armor that the water drill had caught him completely off guard. He couldn't even move when the drill crashed into him right in his stomach with brutal force. To Naruto's immense satisfaction, Gaara impacted the ground with such force that when the drill finally dispersed, Gaara had been buried into the ground in a crater that was shaped like his own body. All the sand that had been reformed had dispersed from his body, even the sand that was left after the explosion. The only thing that indicated that Gaara was still using his Biju chakra were his eyes. Naruto narrowed his eyes, and the kanji for the 5 elemental sea once again formed on his fingertips. He dropped down from the branch, hand once again outstretched. Gaara was angry and confused. Uzumaki had once again put his sand out of commission. He was now dropping from the branch, heading towards him with his hands outstretched with his fingertips glowing. His mother was shouting in his head to do something. "Gaara, I want him dead. Use my power and crush him for good. Give me his blood." All the stress attacks from Naruto, his failed attempts to draw blood, and patience going towards negative finally did it for Gaara. I won't lose to you, Uzumaki. Naruto! Naruto was within 5 meters from Gaara's now exposed stomach with his danger sense when his danger sense rang high wire. He instinctively flashed to the furthest kunai, which surprisingly turned out to be Temari. Temari jumped when Naruto suddenly appeared beside her. She put a hand on her chest, heart bumping wildly. "You really shouldn't startle people like that." Naruto shot back. "That's the only purpose I do it. What are you doing here anyways? I thought you were injured." His gaze turned quizzically. Temari folded her arms. "I was able to heal myself with the medical supplies I had, and what little I knew of medical jutsu." Truthfully speaking, she was downright impressed with the way Naruto had handled Gaara. Not many knew of the weak spot Naruto had chosen to exploit. Most of the times they were busy escaping Gaara's attempts to kill them. Naruto had only bested Gaara's attacks, but had managed to corner him twice. Naruto nodded and turned back where Gaara was. It seemed he had flashed for good reason, for Gaara was no longer there. In his place, a huge raccoon made of sand stood, towering clear above the forest. They seemed like ants in its comparison. A huge amount of chalk had been molded, right before Naruto had flashed away. Naruto stared at the one-tailed tanuki with unusual grave eyes. "This is quite bad," he muttered. Temari gave him a look like he had lost his mind. "Quiet? This is very, very bad. You can't stop him when he goes into this form." Suddenly, Naruto turned around and blocked the shuriken that was meant for Temari. Sasuke appeared one branch away, clearly angry. "What are you doing, Naruto? She is the enemy." Naruto held a hand to calm the Avenger down. "She isn't our enemy anymore, Sasuke. Don't attack her." Sasuke's expression turned confused. "What do you mean?" Naruto then tilted his head towards the giant tanuki. "We have a bigger problem to deal with, that's why." Sasuke gritted his teeth and angrily gestured to the tanuki. "How the hell are you gonna stop that?" Naruto then turned away and looked up, all three of them tensing when he saw its head turning to them. He quickly said, "Both of you, get away from here as fast as you can." Temari spoke the question before Sasuke could. "What about you?" Naruto gave her a discreet wink, whispering, "Trust me." Out loud, he spoke. "I have a plan. Now go." Sasuke looked reluctant to leave Naruto behind, so did Temari, but they still followed his command. Sasuke turned around and tree-hopped away, Sakura safe in his arms. Temari was about to go as well when Naruto whispered to her, "Keep a safe distance from Sasuke. Even though I told him not to attack you, he still might do it." Temari nodded and was about to jump when she noticed she couldn't move. Naruto and her both looked down in horror to see both of their feet stuck in sand, with the sand crawling up their bodies. Naruto acted on instinct. He quickly put a hand on Temari's back and sent her to the furthest point he could, which he sensed was moving away. He had no time to ponder on that because he was completely covered by sand. Gaara watched in his BG form from above as he finally had Uzumaki Naruto in his grasp, and this time there was no escape. He clutched his claw into a fist. Sabuka Q. Sand coffin. Usually when he used the desert coffin, blood would explode outwards, along with the muscles and organs. It always gave Gaara great pleasure to see it. But this time, instead of blood, only smoke came out. Gaara was confused. Why did smoke came out? Temari had been utterly surprised when one moment she was standing beside Naruto, her feet stuck in sand. The next moment, she had suddenly appeared midair beside Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke was equally surprised, and nearly lost his footing on the next branch. Temari was barely able to land on her legs, let alone make a graceful landing. Temari was not surprised, since she had witnessed Naruto sent Shikamaru down for the fight the same way, using her Aishin. Sasuke, on the other hand, was stunned on a much higher level. He can even send people through that jutsu? If he sent her here, does he know that I have one of his kunai? Did Naruto send you? Temari looked at Sasuke and scowled. For some reason, she hated that bastard. Yeah, he did. However, all her breath left her lung when she heard the gravity voice gravely voice of Gaara, amplified in his Biju form. Sabuka Q! No! Tamari thought with eyes full of terror as she turned back to the area of the fight. She almost expected Naruto to flash beside her, easily avoiding the one-hit kill. Seconds trickled by, and the blood fully drained from her face. Gaara had killed Naruto! Sasuke froze on the branch for completely different reasons. While he had undoubtedly displayed potent jealousy towards Naruto for having techniques far superior to his own, he still considered Naruto his comrade, and Naruto was the closest thing to a friend that Sasuke had. Back in the stadium, his thoughts had been clouded with hatred and jealousy, but while fighting Gaara, the cloud had somewhat shifted, and he had giant respect for the blonde to handle Gaara the way he did. Naruto may have been a genius, but that alone doesn't make you powerful. Sasuke trained his butt off daily to get stronger. For Naruto to be this strong, he must have worked way harder than him, which meant only thing. Sasuke would do anything he could to catch up to Naruto. Anything. But witnessing the death of the comrade made him reflect back to their bell test. Kakashi had told them that people who broke the rules are scum, but those who abandoned their comrades are worse than scum. He abandoned Naruto to face his death, even if the blonde had told him to go himself. Itachi had abandoned the entire Leaf and by extension his comrades. Sasuke had abandoned his comrade. Oh god, did that mean that they were the same? Before more horror could fill his being, a scream of horror from Tamari snapped him out of his thoughts. I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this. No, I'm not. She screamed Naruto. If you're wondering, I'm not doing the. Okay, you know my outro, right? How Sakura screams Naruto. It's that, but in Tamari's voice. Tamari wanted to deny all of it. She wanted to deny that Naruto had fallen prey to Gaara-san, but the truth was right in front of her, as if mocking her for not being able to do anything. She had these strange feelings growing inside of her ever since she started meeting Naruto in the week before the exams, feeling that she couldn't make any sense out of. She didn't meet him just because she wanted to learn his secrets for the village. No, she genuinely enjoyed spending time with him. He had become a sort of companion that she never wanted to let go of, but reality struck hard. Naruto, she screamed it again. Suddenly, a huge amount of smoke appeared before them, causing both of them to gape. The amount of smoke released was large, easily large enough that it could cover the giant tanuki. Only it wasn't a tanuki that emerged from the smoke, but a fox. Just to annoy some of you who keep complaining about short videos, that's where I'm gonna end it. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next part. Roll the outro.
On it, a bitch who was on the move, but you on it goddamn late. Got that one in my bed and she just wanna sleep, fucking up all of the sheets. She only wake up to eat, do this shit every week. Like why you do that? Crying you wanna be great, but sleeping until the next day. Why you do that? Got that much in the bank, we go out, she order the steak. Why you do that?